Welcome to season 5 of the TheComiCompodcast 2025, season 5, episode 1. Your host, Nemesis Prime, and of course, Milton the Manimal is not here for the first week of the new year, but it's okay because he's got big news, but I'll let him spoil it next week if he comes back, or if maybe he shows up today. I really don't know. But in place of Zach, I always like to bring people on here, people that we love to talk about books, because I know I love the readers of the community. So we have Greg, Paperweight Collectibles on here. Greg, thanks so much for bopping on. I've obviously asked you early this morning, said, hey, can you jump on? You want to talk some comics? And what'd you say?
Absolutely. I said, let me check quick because a lot going on. But hell yeah, big shoes to fill though with Zach being gone. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
First of the year. I feel honored.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good show. We got some cool stuff to talk about. Of course, I hope everybody had a great holiday season wherever you are. If you got some cool comics, you got some cool video games, whatever you got to do with the family, see some movies. I was actually I spent a lot of time going to the movies actually. Probably the last week and a half, 2 weeks of the year. Literally, I saw Lord of the Rings, the animated movie. I saw Sonic, and I saw Nosferatu.
I was gonna say, what's out that's like really good? I didn't even know.
Yeah, so Nosferatu dropped on Christmas, and I saw it the next day, and then Sonic was like a couple days before. I liked it. It was weird. Like I didn't think I was gonna like Nosferatu. Like,
what's it about? I've heard good things.
It's vampire Nosferatu, like basically kind of like Count Dracula.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's definitely got some cool horror vibes. Got some good jump scares. Nothing like too crazy, but I didn't even realize the guy who plays basically Nosferatu or Count Dracula is Bill Skarsgård. He's like in everything. Like he was completely different. He plays like this German like version of the guy, Dracula. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, his name's been popping up a lot in the comic world the last few days.
Yeah. Heard possible Joker. He wants to buy the Joker. So
dude, you know what's weird? Again, not to hijack, but like I'm almost certain when Gunn first did like his announcement slate, that when they announced Swamp Thing, it was Bill that apparently was already like signed on for Swamp Thing. Which makes sense because with his eyes, like the things he can do with not fully seeing who he is, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's actually a pretty good idea. I would like to see that, him as Swamp Thing, but I'm sure listen, there's a lot of people that want to work with James Gunn. I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to do this whole new DCEU, and we're gonna get DC Studios, DCU, whatever it is going to be called. So we're gonna get into it tonight for sure. But let's kind of just pay some bills real quick. Of course, community stuff. You have the upcoming King Kong show. That's March 22nd. 2025. We are 3 months away from the show. We will be set up the Comic-Con podcast. We'll be set up there with our buddy V. Ken Marion at the APA Hotel in Island, New Jersey. So make sure you can actually get some cheap tickets right now. Greg, MTG Comics, puts on the show. Of course, he's always adding some artists and writers, and we'll be set up in the artist section with V. Ken. I have a nice sketch coming from him. Hopefully it's getting worked on, and I'll be picking it up in a couple months. So anything out in your area in the community world? Some conventions coming up this month?
They always do this pretty, I guess I don't want to say big, nothing big like how you guys kind of do it, but there's always this comic show on, is it Boxing Day or the day after Boxing Day, 27th, I believe. I couldn't make it out. I've been actually having like a ton of like gut issues over the last couple of weeks, so I'm all cleared now. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the group of like training and eating a ton. But yeah, I missed out, and I was hoping to kind of grab a couple things since things are on the low, but I couldn't make it out there.
So I got to ask, because I know a lot of people always, and they probably just Google this, but why is it called Boxing Day?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't
know.
You guys don't have a boxing? Isn't it Boxing Day for you guys too?
No, it's like just
what's
like
it called?
Well, it's like, so Christmas Eve is the 24th, Christmas Day is the 25th, and then it's just like
thing.
New Year's Eve is and then New Year's Day, like the 31st and the 1st.
You have nothing on the 26th?
No, I don't. No, we don't have anything.
So on the 26th, yeah, it's like I don't know. I guess it's similar to like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing, but with
okay. So yeah, we have that. Yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, I guess that's kind of what like we have in the day after Thanksgiving, and then like that Monday after Thanksgiving. in
Yeah,
November.
it's where, like, insane people line up at, like, 5 AM to save, like, $50. No, sometimes, honestly, because, the world now is all digital, but sometimes there are crazy deals, but you have to be willing to literally stand in line, like, overnight, and
Okay.
you can sometimes literally get, like, insane deals, even though TVs have come down in price dramatically, but you can literally get, like, a sick, like, Samsung TV for, like, probably 70% off of what it would normally be, like, crazy shit like that.
Okay. I mean, that's cool. Listen, that's fine. That's yeah. If you can get that in like video games or shit, anything out there in the electronics world, I would take it. Yeah, I used to do that back in the day. We would definitely do the Black Friday thing, and um, you know, Jesus, like 2, 3 in the morning, we'd wake
Yeah.
up, me and my buddies, and just go wait outside Target or Walmart or Best Buy, whatever it is.
I've done it for PlayStations. We used
Yeah.
to honestly do whenever I wanted a new TV, I would always wait for Boxing Day. We would all go hang out like at a Best Buy
Yep.
overnight, and you'd literally be able to walk out with the TV, and then the prices were far more. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really partake in anything this time. I just grabbed some like trade paperbacks off of like websites that were doing like 30-40% off things. My LCS usually does amazing Boxing Day, like the whole store, like dollar comics, free stuff. I couldn't make it out. I was literally
Yeah.
kind of out of commission the last couple weeks.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know why they don't. I guess it's more of a Canadian northern territories, I guess, is what I
Yeah,
would call it. I mean, I don't know that.
we suck, bro. I had to bring my ass. I shout out to Newbie. I had to sleep at Newbies to cross the border about 5 days before Christmas to get some medical stuff done because God knows it can't happen here. So
Oh, geez. Yeah. I had to go for, and now we're getting to medical stuff as we get older. I had to go for an MRI, and I was just like, I want to get this MRI in before the end of the year because I already hit my cope or my deductible. So then, like, I know that it was going to be like super cheap or free. I was like, I don't want this to go into the new year. Like, I was like, I need to do this MRI like now. Like, they need to schedule me in December. So they did it the week, like literally the week before Christmas.
mhm.
So just, I wouldn't have to worry about like whatever the cost was going to be because I already hit my deductible on my healthcare, blah, 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 for all us Americans that know that.
Yeah, I just paid. I'm like, I'm not waiting. Fuck this country. I slept at Newbies, crossed the border in the morning, went to
Hmm.
Buffalo, had the CT scan done that day, had the results on me before I even crossed back into Canada.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Good for you, man. Well, hopefully everything's good.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Thank God.
Good, good.
You, everything good with you?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
always, man, always. It was a stupid. I had to go for an MRI, like I said, on my face. It was like I have a small little like cyst up in my orbital face thing. It's small, it's tiny, it's like nothing. So
Okay. Good.
it is what it is. It was luckily it's not a contagious or nothing like pink eye or something like. And I don't get pink eye, so I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, no one's farting on your pillow, so you're good.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not like I'm not fingering my butt. I'm sticking it in my I'm sticking my eye. All right, so let's get us into some comic book talk.
Yeah.
We really haven't been talking about too much of the trailers and stuff because we've been doing a lot of our reviews. Literally, it's funny. I think 2 weeks ago we had Anthony on for Bird City Comics, and
Yeah.
then the trailer drops, and then of course we don't talk about it because the next week we were talking about our year in review of all of our comic reads. So, big news over the past couple weeks. We've had a trailer. They call it a teaser trailer. I think 2.5 minutes is not a teaser trailer. That's a full trailer. And we also got another announcement of a DC hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call. So let's start us off with the Superman talk. So we get the
Yeah.
full trailer for James Gunn's Superman. Right out the gate. What did you feel about it? What did you think?
Oh man, I almost got emotional. So like, okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, I love the trailer, and I think what's really cool about this, it was like you immediately. What I love most about it was there genuinely was like a sign of hope. Like I felt hopeful after watching it about like everything. I don't know why. And for people who didn't really have a ton of faith in Gunn, and I kept saying like, trust me, he's gonna put it all to bed. Like just let him cook, give him time. What I found also interesting was universally, again, there's going to be different strokes for different folks, but Marvel hardcores, DC hardcore, everyone seemed to have really enjoyed and taken to this trailer. The only ones that didn't seem to be the Snyderverse cultists. They were the only ones that really had a problem. But I think with what we've gotten so far, I am very, very, very excited about what Gunn is doing with Superman, and kind of like he said when he first came on, he's like, "There's no reason why Superman should not be equivalent to Batman and Spider Man. You know, like he's the first. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what you're a fan of. If you know, we all love comics. We all like to. We're tribal by nature, so we'll pick our teams. But everyone should root for Superman, you know, being the classic character that he is. Even if you don't like the character, just for the success of the brand, the Superman brand to do well, I think it'll have a trickle effect throughout all of like kind of comics and superhero films and reads, etc.
Mhm. Now, for the most part, and a lot of people have kind of said this, and just to kind of play devil's advocate, James Gunn has done the Guardians movies, so
Hmm.
big groups, Suicide Squad, big group, and for the most part, I feel like we got like a lot of characters in this trailer, and I feel like that may be a little bit of a downfall of this movie because Superman, like you nailed it on the head. Like Superman is the character. There's hope. It is, Superman needs to be as big as Batman and Spider-Man. But why does Superman have to have all these other characters in this movie? Like, can he not hold the movie by himself? Like, that's my only worry.
It's a good point, and you know what? It's the first that I've actually heard of, so, like, we can even unpack that. Again, it being a teaser trailer or again, lengthy teaser trailer, we'll call it a
Mm,
trailer. We don't know the extent, like, we do know that, Mr. Terrific has, like, a big role, but we don't know if these other people are in it for seconds, minutes, like, we really don't know. Um, it could just be maybe some fan service for the teaser. I do know from what I've read and heard on like podcasts that there's a lot of depth to Lois and Clark's relationship, like dialogue. Apparently, there's scenes where there's like long periods of dialogue between the two. Of course, things could change on the cutting floor, but I get what you're saying, but I'm still very optimistic, and I think at the end of the day, it's like it's weird because people it's like you want Superman to be kind of humanized, but he's not a human, right? But I
mhm.
feel like James Gunn has a way of pulling things out of certain actors and certain in characters. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm not being biased because I like we're going to talk about it. We'll wait when we get to the reads. Like I'm not a biased person, but this, and I'm not even a Soups guy, but this made me a huge fan. I'm very excited, and like I said, I think everyone should kind of pull for this one to do well.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it needs to be right off the gate. It definitely needs to be the movie that everybody wants to see. It's coming
Yeah,
out July 11th.
yeah.
It's that real big. People are out of school. We're like right after like July 4th here in the States. So you big, Independence Day. Like it's
Mhm.
the big
Yeah,
American holiday movie. And I feel like that's the thing is I feel like it should actually come out the week before to really get people want to go see it, right?
and
Like because
Fantastic
movies
Four is
would
the
come
week
on.
after?
Yeah, it's the week after.
Yeah.
So even and I don't know, like I don't know when July 4th is. I don't know what day it falls on, but either a couple days before or a couple days after. I feel like a full week ahead of it. It's kind of it. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, but there's a lot of actors and actresses in it. Like you said, there's people that are Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mister Terrific. The engineer is in there for real quick. There's so many people, and I'm hoping they're in it for a very short period of time. Nicholas Holt, who plays
Lux, yeah.
Lex, I like I said, I just saw him in Nosferatu. He's amazing in
Yeah.
that movie. And he just plays so many different characters, and it's actually like I actually went back and I went on his IMDb and I was looking at all the movies that he plays in, and he can play all different types of characters. So I have no worries about him playing Lex. I know he's going to be an amazing Lex Luthor.
So
The
I
other,
don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do possibly, but so one of Gunn's big reasons for picking him, outside of him being a phenomenal actor, you do know that he tried to be Batman and Superman,
mhm,
and he was
yeah,
he was turned down. So Gunn thought he can kind of pull, in a creative like in an art way, some tension between David and Nick, right, in that sense, right, even though they're professionals and all that, still at the end of the day it's like we could be boys, right, but if you sting me on that one, it's like fuck, okay, I gotta get, you know what I mean. So apparently like the cast, like the synergy of the cast was great from what I've heard and read. So again, I'm excited for this movie. I feel like the trailer really, again, it seemed like universally it was really loved, like from all audiences. So I mean, that's pretty interesting to me anyway.
oh yeah. I just when that the epic, Superman sound with the guitar kind of hits. Like
Yeah,
I was just like, I got it. I got like the chills there.
yeah,
And I went back and I'm a Snyder guy. Like I love Man of Steel, and I went back
yeah.
and
Same.
I
Yeah,
watched Man of Steel, and I'm just like, Man, this is just it humanized Superman in a way, like, Zack did it right,
Mhm.
and I feel like even in this trailer, you get it a little bit, like, the people hate him, like, when they're throwing the garbage at
Yeah,
him, and I hope that's a similar thing, like, yes, he's a god, but he's also he needs to be a human, right?
yeah,
And that's what's the best thing is if you even in comics, right? If you can write Superman as a human, that's where
yeah.
it comes it's more relatable because, like, you can read a Superman comic and he's just a god, like, that's not fun for the most part, like,
Difficult.
it
That's
gets
easy.
old, it gets
Yeah,
boring, so
that's the
but
thing too. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. I agree with all that.
yeah, so a lot of stuff coming out. Right now we're watching. I don't know if you're watching Creature Commandos. That's almost done. I think we have like one or two more episodes left. So that's been
So I'm
going
about
on.
to start. I'm binging it because here,
Okay.
this is the one thing that I'm a little shocked. Like I get it. I know Canada's so tiny, but we're your neighbors. You would think they would make a better effort. So in order for people in Canada to see it legally, we have to subscribe through. So most things like DC related will come on. We have what's called Crave. So all the HBO stuff, kind of like how you guys have Hulu, all the
Okay.
HBO stuff will come through Crave. For whatever reason, Creature Commandos, you need like an additional thing. So I'm about to start my 7-day free trial and blast through it.
Okay.
And yeah, so because I've only seen clips like of episodes online and I'm digging it. Like from what I've seen, it seems really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited to binge it.
I'm surprised that you should actually look up the bundle for. So I was paying for Hulu and I was paying for Disney Plus,
We
and
don't
then
have Hulu
recently.
here.
Okay. So recently, and I don't know if they have this again in Canada, but they have it's the Disney Hulu Max bundle. So I deleted everything or I unsubscribed everything and then I resubscribed and it's like a triple play.
Oh,
So it's one login and now because what happened was when 20th Century Fox got bought out, like they were under Hulu. So everything that's actually on Hulu now is already integrated into Disney Plus.
oh,
So you can watch like all the stuff that's on there. But Max is like it's still a separate thing, but it was a good deal. It was well worth it because yeah, paying for all these different subscriptions is just crazy. Like the
yeah,
price
yeah,
just
no,
goes like
no doubt, no
exponential.
doubt. But yeah,
So
I don't think that's a thing here. But I
okay,
can get it through Prime, through Amazon Prime. There's like another like subscription model thing you can
yeah,
do. I'm just gonna
yeah,
do that, dude, because I've been wanting to watch it anyway, and I'm tired of watching like bootleg clips through YouTube to see it and all that. I'm just gonna. And now that we got Batman in it, I want to see what's that little clip. I want to see what it's all about.
yeah, yeah. This past week's was well, I guess I guess it was today's episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
Wednesday. It comes out Wednesdays, right?
yeah, Wednesdays or Thursday. No, Thursdays it comes out. Like so it came
Okay.
out today. So the Doctor Phosphorus episode was today. So I
Yes.
think there's one or two more. So
One more.
okay, so one
And
more to end the season, and then we'll have Superman in July. But the other news that just came out recently, and I mean, this was like a no-brainer. This has been
yeah,
teased forever. The guy's been saying it forever, but Jason Momoa is confirmed to be playing Lobo in the Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
super dope. Yeah,
And,
we
I
all
mean,
miss.
he's been wanting to do it. I mean, he's been wanting to do it forever. There's a lot of more modern comics that has had Lobo fighting Supergirl, so it's kind of like the perfect setup because there are a lot of Superman villains, but you really need to bring somebody who can go toe to toe. And I know you read it, that whole House of Brainiac
Mhm.
storyline. Like they brought Lobo in there, and that's kind of something that's important because he is a cool character. He is just a badass, and if you're gonna bring someone that's kind of on the same almost R-rated like a Wolverine or Deadpool, like Lobo is that
Yeah,
character, right?
that's funny
And
you mentioned that. That's exactly one of my buddies is a hardcore DC. He's like, this has like Deadpool potential in terms of like merch and like popularity. So, are you currently reading the Joshua Williamson like Superman run, like the
oh,
whole?
yeah, yeah, and
Okay,
then
and
they
it's
got the new
great.
stuff with Dan Moore and just took over the art,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's been a great run, like pretty consistent throughout. And I want to say again, if my brain is not teasing me, when Lobo was on it, he was kind of like a tweener, like an in between. They had a battle, and then they kind of had to work together, right?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
kind of feel that might be foreshadowing because I know people hate when we make villains like good guys, but you also have to think marketing and merchandise. Like Aquaman was successful because females were willing to go to the movies as well to see Jason Momoa shirtless. So Lobo, you need again. I hope he's like a badass dude, and I'm sure he is. But I totally feel like we might end up getting like an in between and like good bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I think
Yeah.
that's like a Deadpool. Like you know what I mean? Like he's clearly a good bad, like a bad good guy kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I know you're not you're not old into collecting, but if you go back to the 90s, Lobo had tons of like random like mini series, like 2 to 3 issue mini series.
Hmm.
He was the he was kind of like Marvel's like
Yeah,
not even Deadpool, I would say Venom, because Venom would have
okay.
like 5 issue miniseries every year, and Lobo would just have all these random like one shots or 3 issues, or he would show up, fight Superman, and then he'd be in the Justice League and fighting against the Justice League. So he was always thrown in because when they kind of redid his origin and like completely changed him, he was a cooler character than when he kind of first came out. So, and then
Yeah,
they redacted whatever it was again, but I think it'll be interesting to see, going forward what he's going to be like. And Jason's just Jason, like right,
yeah.
like we've seen him like in any
Yeah.
movie, right? So
No,
just
it's cool. It's almost, I almost feel like before Gunn officially took over, it was like that was the official, unofficial first announcement like they both ever made. It's like we knew it was coming. We just
yeah.
needed to hear it. You know what I mean? Like as officially. So I thought it was a cool poster too, like the little graphic with the American flag in the background and the fireworks that he put up. I thought it was cool. It kind of ties into the whole timing with Superman. So I mean, I could totally see, maybe an end credit. I don't know if that's too soon, but I can totally
Mm,
see an end credit scene Lobo, because 2026 is Supergirl, right? So it starts filming next week. So I think everything's going to happen quicker than we think.
oh yeah, you could definitely clip something together for like a
Yeah,
quick 5 minutes or
yeah,
2 minute thing just to kind of tease everybody. and
easy. Yeah,
and I don't know, and I'm sure not too many people know if Superman's gonna or Supergirl is gonna be in Superman at all. Maybe it kind of ends with her being there, and that just kind of sets up, or even it doesn't, it's just it's there. Let's get a post credit scene with one of them, right? And
mm,
that's fine now that it's
yeah,
official. So, I get, and there's a lot of stuff coming out for Marvel as well this year, but the big DC is kind of they wrapped it at the end of the year with those two kind of big announcements showing the
yeah. Those are really
finally a
strong.
trailer. Yeah, they ended it strong for
Yeah,
sure. So it
smart,
was
smart
perfect.
on them too.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know what? To be honest, I was thinking that we weren't going to get a trailer for Superman until like Super Bowl. Like usually they would kind of wait for something big because
You
I mean,
might get
other
the
than that,
official one then, maybe the 4 minute one then. You know what I mean? It makes sense. There's more like Marvel has even maybe even something with Fantastic Four. I think if you don't capitalize on the Super Bowl, it's a mistake. I think we will see something Superman or Fantastic Four at Super Bowl.
well, what's interesting is when I went to go see Nosferatu, they had the Superman trailer. It was actually a little shorter,
Yeah.
and there was like 2 or 3 different
Yep.
scenes
I
that
saw clip
showed Mr. Terrific like in different.
and Lex.
Yeah, there was like different screen grabs
Yeah.
of them, and I was just like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "I don't remember this," and I've watched the trailer like 10 times in the
Yeah.
first day. So, but yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to it in July and then next year for Supergirl. So,
And dude, like you said, just so you know, like I enjoyed like when people bashed on, like I enjoyed the Snyderverse. I was not a
mhm.
Snyderverse hater at all. I just find it interesting now. You see all those ones that people talked about. They're the ones coming out bashing Superman. It's like, dude, like guys, move on. Let's get this thing to work. I like the dark, gritty Snyderverse. I really did, but we gotta move on.
Listen, it's not for everybody, but it was something, and it's the same thing. Like Nolan had his 3 movies. Shit, like the whole Joel Schumacher, Tim Burton in the 80s and 90s.
Mhm.
Like there's tons of stuff, right? Like everybody had their thing. They could have continued. They just didn't. They never expanded on any of those worlds. And who are you going to blame? You either blame the studio, you blame the people that don't want to go see it, you blame the directors for whatever they do. But it's, at the end of the day, it's corporate, it's money.
Yeah,
So
tons of
Gunn, I think
bureaucracy
Gunn
behind
will
the
do a
scenes.
good job. It should continue.
Yeah,
We know what's going on for this first phase. So a lot of stuff moving forward for DC. It's definitely in 2025.
100%.
So let's kind of kick it over to some articles. So first one up, we have, and this is actually it's a little bit of an older article, but it's actually a little bit more of a newer article as well because the book does just come out next week. So for anybody who is hot on the Daredevil train, and especially there is actually a little bit of news if you've been checking out some Instagram posts with Charlie Cox and Daredevil. So this one's coming over from CBR.com. So Marvel released an R-rated Daredevil teaser. So after Matt Murdock was sentenced to prison during Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil, Matt cut a deal and his longtime love interest Elektra for her to take over as Daredevil of Hell's Kitchen. She agreed, and even though Matt has since returned to become Daredevil, Elektra has remained in the role, and now she has a new miniseries that's pushing the boundaries of what kind of gore a Marvel comic can depict, and CBR has an exclusive preview of Daredevil Hell Unleashed. So not only is this new Marvel series a Red Band, like similar like Blood Hunt and the Wolverine, but it's going to be obviously polybag that contains the rated R level of violence and gore, and it's coming out next week, and it's a 5-issue miniseries done by Erica Schultz. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even hear about it to put it on FOC. Damn.
Yeah. So
interesting. What I wanted to ask you, remember how I said I wanted to save it?
Yeah.
So I know Chip used to write Daredevil, and what happened with the whole? I'm maybe out of the loop. The DC, that Batman run, it was like an abrupt like end. There was some like drama or something with like they kind of like booted him off of it or something, and now he's not doing anything with DC and he's back with Marvel. Do you know anything about this?
Well, he wrote this week's Batman.
I think this was it. He's done.
And then I think they're kind of, because I think what's happening is they're kind of transitioning for this year for the Batman Hush. So I think that's kind of why they're probably going to cut him. And then
maybe I'm reading because the way I read into it is something went down and like he was like kind of not remove. I don't know if removes the right word. And then apparently when they were at New York Comic-Con, he was like completely not near anything DC related and was like kind of with the Marvel people.
I'm trying to think where Chip was.
I'm not stirring the pot. This is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, dude. Interesting news for sure. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything. Like I said, I think my guess is just because they kind of dwindle his long run down, and then I don't know if this is his last issue, and then it'll transition to some like just a random writer and artist, and then right into Hush. Or like it'll just be whatever his last issue is, maybe if it's next month, and then it goes right into Hush, right? So I don't know, but back to the Daredevil stuff for sure. The fact that they are doing another Red Band series and it is Elektra, as it's pretty wild because we've had the Blood Hunt stuff, we've had the Wolverine. I really didn't think Daredevil was something that I needed a rated R Red Band. Titles like Alien, Predator, like those are the titles which I thought they could have done Red Band stuff for sure. I mean, those are already violent enough, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I'm happy that, listen, hey, it's a 5-issue series, so you know what you're going to get. It's going to only be, a short period of time. The synopsis is the violence and the occult swirling around the Marvel universe found their way to Hell's Kitchen as a grimsy crime scene starts to manifest across the city. All signs point to an important perpetrator of the Muse, who obviously the Muse we're going to be seeing in Daredevil this year. Estranged from Matt Murdock, it's up to Elektra to get the grisly truth as only Daredevil can, if she can stomach the seemingly resurrected killer's most violent works. And I did see something recently, I think it was online, that there possibly is a female Muse. So, or the Muse is the female, because I don't know.
But no, we got a clip of the Muse. Are you talking about? Oh, okay, I know what you mean. Okay.
No, in the comic, so I saw something
in the comic. Okay.
Yeah, because normally
it might be. I think. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, it's showing up on my end. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, so it's definitely the Muse is just going to be, I think it's in the comic for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I think to kind of what you said about, if we needed it or if people are asking for it, this might just be their way of possibly introducing readers or reminding people like, hey, the Daredevil that will be dropping on Disney is not going to be fluff. It's going to be violent. It's going to be dark. You know what I mean? It could just be, and again, they're capitalizing because people, are spending that extra $1 or $2 on this Red Band stuff. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, it caught my attention when you brought it up. I didn't even know. I probably would have pulled this just for like fun anyway. Like I like Chip. Yeah. So, but I didn't even know.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the Red Band stuff, but I'm just curious of like again, it's not a character, especially like Elektra. I mean, Elektra is an assassin. even regular Daredevil, I wouldn't have seen him getting a Red Band title where we needed a polybag. Like the Wolverine, I get the Bloodhound stuff, I get. I don't
But
know.
if
I
you
just
have
feel like they
Punisher
could have.
involved, maybe.
Yeah, like that too, but it doesn't seem like it is. So, but again, next week, check it out, people. Something for 2025, your first Red Band series for Marvel Comics. So.
Yeah, if it's on the shelves, I'd probably grab it because I didn't even know.
And you know what it is too? Like you said, like a lot of people may not know about it, and maybe the Red Band is the one to get because it's something that could be a little bit worth a little bit more money if you're kind of that person that likes to hold on to the books and keep them polybag.
Right.
So,
Oh,
Yo, what just
look who
happened?
just popped
Happy New
in.
Year, bro.
Happy New Year.
I didn't reach out directly. I sent it to the group on IG, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. But Happy New Year and
Oh,
I didn't say anything. So, welcome to the
Okay.
show. This
thank
is
you.
Zach. This is Milton the Manimal. He's my co-host. He's usually here weekly. So I guess before we were just talking about. I don't know if you saw, Zach, that they dropping a Daredevil Red Band series starting next week, the 5-issue miniseries.
Oh, yeah. Who's writing that? I think I.
Erica Schultz,
What's that,
Daredevil
Chip?
Unleashed. No, it's not
Oh,
Chip.
I thought
Yeah,
it was Chip.
Unleashed Hell. It's called.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. Is it? But I didn't know much about it. Is it like
Me neither.
regular continuity or is it like Elseworlds type story?
I mean, it's got her. It's basically Elektra, and she's going after Muse. So kind of
Oh,
maybe
sweet.
setting up the Netflix stuff. That's kind of what I said. So
Cool.
but yeah. So before we continue, I guess you can drop your news.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So sorry, everyone.
Ask why you're late.
It didn't
Tardy to the party.
Was not planning on the first episode of the year, the new season, being a little absent, but surprise, after Justin came down for the weekend, he spooked the babies out of my wife's stomach, and my daughters decided to make an appearance on the 30th. Yeah, the 30th Monday. So
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, man. So both girls are healthy, a little premature, but so they'll be in the hospital in the NICU for a little while, which is scary, but they're doing good. All signs point to no problems. And yeah, man. So just been a little busy the past couple of days. I actually just got home from visiting them in the NICU because you can kind of go in and out. And then so yeah, but yeah, all good, dude. All good.
Anytime it's premature, it's always a little scary. But the fact that two of them, I can't even imagine. But I'm just happy everything's going well.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And honestly, dude, it's like, I mean, I couldn't like rave enough about the staff that works in the NICU. Like first off, like the people. I mean, that's a calling, and all the nurses who have been working there are just so fantastic. And like, luckily our daughters are healthy. Unfortunately, there's some that are, struggling. The children are struggling more. And you're very much like a helicopter parent. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, can you tell us what you're doing? And the nurses are probably like, dude, we're changing a diaper. Like, how many times I got to fucking say this, but they're so great and patient and just, it really feels like they care about your child, so anyway, all things good. Great way to start the year. I'll tell you what. So last thing, and then we can go to comics, but I was worried because my wife had sent me like, hey, look, this is what our daughters are going to be generation wise. So all children born January 1st, 2025 are generation beta. Which first off, lame. Like, this is just like the worst, dude. So like, thankfully my girls showed up like 2 days before. They're like, we're not having that. We're generation alpha. We're no betas. Dude, I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Plus, thanks for the 2024 tax credit too. So yeah, man. Nice. All things are good. All things are good.
Wifey's good.
She's good. She's doing great. She they actually last thing, I guess, she was there for 3 days and they discharged her today, but the hospital is allowing her to like stay hospitality wise. So she's staying in the room close by so she can like breastfeed, pump, and then still kind of be close by. So she'll be there for another 3 days, just chilling in the room. So
that's cool. Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. I've heard stories like when they're in the NICU, like premature, you don't even get like to touch them sometimes at the beginning.
Dude, I mean, I can't imagine. We were talking. I can't imagine what it was like during COVID. Like, it would have had to have been like heartbreaking for parents. I mean, it's already hard. Like, like the girls for the past couple days have been underneath the lamp cooking them because they kind of like they're Billy Rubens, which is like it
come
leads
out
to
jaundice
jaundice.
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So they've been under the lamp for a while, and we haven't really got to touch them. Like I haven't held one of my daughters yet, only one, and so that's tough. But you're focused on like, hey, get better. Like, I'm very much like, cool. Like I won't touch them, just take care of them. So,
but mom's touching them, yeah.
So same. I mean, we both are, but she's only held one of them. I've only held the other one.
Okay.
And then they went under the lamps, and so we're very much kind of like trying to get them lamp time. So,
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah.
God bless, man.
Hey, thanks for popping in, dude. Thanks for.
Of course. No, thank you for having me.
I was getting ready to just log on and play Elden Ring, and then I was like, you know what? I'll just pop in real quick.
I was trying to get a game of Astro in, but Justin's like 10 minutes.
So, Zach, I threw something in the private chat where we're gonna add to we're gonna talk about some comic book stuff. But yeah, so real quick, so I went down to see Zach this past weekend, and I got to go to Zach's LCS. And let me tell you, if you want to go to an LCS, this place is huge down in Fredericksburg. Cool. So, man, this had to be the biggest comic shop I've ever been to.
Really,
probably the biggest comic shop I've ever been to. So
yeah.
Cool. It was a lot of fun. It definitely had everything, like wall to wall comic books, old stuff, toys, statues, trade paperbacks, you name it, they had it.
Yeah. Novels, posters,
sweet
games. Yeah. You know what they didn't have? Actually, they had some in the front, I think. They didn't really do video games.
Yeah,
not see any video.
Oh yeah, they had in the cases, but
a little bit in the front. Yeah.
But yeah, that shop was pretty wild. I mean, I would have stayed there all day and went through all those back issues and those $3 books if you weren't around.
The only thing I hate about like my LCS, which like I do love them. The only thing I hate, and I get how hard it is to be an LCS owner, especially now. But basically, for like new comic book day, if you don't pull it, it's not going to be on the shelf for you. Like, what if I want to just grab something? You know what I mean? Like on a whim, like this Daredevil book. Like I just realized I'm definitely not going to be able to get it because it's not. I didn't order it. You know what I mean?
Oh, here's a rant.
Yes. Zach? Okay. I'll make it brief because
no. This is good. This is good because we were going to somewhat talk about this. Go ahead.
So I was telling Justin, I have a complaint with LCSs, and my shop. This shop is awesome. They've recently had some problems. I don't know if other shops. I've heard other shops on the East Coast have been having problems with like their Marvel shipments the past couple of weeks, distribution, blah blah blah, something like that, right? Yeah. So I hadn't really been getting my Marvel books, and that was irritating. And then sometimes, I only get cover A's and sometimes I get cover B's. Anyway, last week they squared me away. Like I'm good. But during that time, I was thinking about it a lot and I was kind of like annoyed by it. So I feel like I'm just going to talk. So whoever gets offended, don't hear me out first. So everyone has this belief that like we have to support the LCSs. We have to support it. And I agree, you do. Right. But then I do feel like there is a weird realm we're in right now where LCSs aren't necessarily meeting the customers in the middle. Okay. Let's remember that this is their business. You are the customer. Like I don't owe an LCS anything. I don't. They owe me because that's their business, right? Like I choose where I want to spend my money. I choose what I want to purchase. So things like a pull list, that's not for me. If we're being honest about it, that's not for me. That's for them. That shows them like, hey, Zach's getting all these X titles. So I need to order 5 X titles. It tells them what books they should order. So they have a good number, an idea of what their numbers are. So they don't have dead stock on their shelves. So I'm assisting an LCS with my pull list. And I feel like we've reached this point lately in the community where it's kind of been the reverse, where the LCSs are trying to tell you like, oh, I'm doing you a favor with the pull box. No, you aren't, dude. I can go buy these books anywhere I want. Like I can go to Mile High, DCBS. I can go anywhere. Like I don't have to go to you. So there is a meet in the middle, like position there. And I don't believe people, I do frown upon like individuals who order all these books in the pull list and their box gets so big and then they never come and get their books. Like that's bogus. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. I've kind of switched where now I'm like, if I'm doing a pull list, I'm doing you a favor and you should be getting my books. And if I don't get the books that I put on that list, I need to know why.
That's happened to me a few times. It's so annoying. Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be told, oh, sorry, man, I didn't get that book. Well, I ordered it. So like I can either order it through you and that's a gentleman's agreement that you will get me the book, or I can go through DCBS and I can order it through them directly and I can make sure I get the book, but now you don't get my business. So That's kind of what it is, right? Like the pull box is a gentleman's agreement of like, hey, this is what I want. You will give me what I want, or else I will go somewhere else. And so I don't know, man. It rubs me the wrong way sometimes, the pull list. And don't get me wrong, customers have, a problem as well. But I guess for me, whatever I put on my pull list, I'm picking up. Like I'm never the guy who, in fact, I'm usually buying crap that I don't want because I feel guilty about it. They'll give me a cover B and I'm like, fuck, fine, I'll buy it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of my little quick rant on this.
No, I feel you. That's actually a good way to look at it. It's just for me, it's like, yeah, okay, it's convenient to pull list, but like me and Justin were just talking about, like I said, I'm like, maybe I would grab that Daredevil book that I didn't know about just cause, but I guaranteed it's not going to be there for me.
Yeah. It's funny. I was telling Justin, like a good example of when I kind of got, one of the many times my pull box kind of got screwed was the Daredevil Chip Zdarsky run. It was the issue, I think, where Elektra became Daredevil. The cover's him on like a jail cell, and it was a pretty hot issue. And like I'm getting all the books, all the Daredevil books, and then I don't get that one, right? And I'm like, what the hell? And my shop's like, oh yeah, we ran out, or we didn't get them, or whatever. I reordered it, and then I never got that book, or I got a cover B, which now is obviously not the hot book, which is extremely unfair since I'm getting that book consistently until the hot book comes out. That shit kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So
the worst is when that's happened to me, and then I see it on the shelf the next week, like double the price. That's when it bothers me.
Oh yeah, hell no, dude. I would like take it to the front counter and then tell them to give me cover price, and if they say no, I explain to them why I'll never will return to their store. But yeah.
Ooh, well,
first rant of 2025. I love it.
Yeah, dude.
yeah. So that was a rant. I was like, no. Let's talk about this later. So
it'll make sense though.
So yeah. Good stuff. Let's kind of continue before we jump into our reads. So this one, and this is kind of a bleed over from last week with Zach and I kind of talking about our favorite books of last year and kind of also just discussing of, the top books. So this is over from bleedingcool.com. So they have the top 9 best-selling comics of 2024 in comic book stores. So they, out of 150 stores that use the POS point of sale system, they compiled this list, so it's actual sales data, not just like, numbers ordered. For the most part, again, no surprise. I would feel like a lot of these books, but we'll go from number 9 down to number 1. So number 9, you have Ultimate Spider-Man 3, Uncanny X-Men number 1, Ultimate Spider-Man 2, X-Men number 1 at number 6. Number 5 is Absolute Wonder Woman. Number 4 is Absolute Batman. Number 2, Absolute Superman. Number 1, Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, and coming in at number 1 was Absolute Batman number 1. So most of those books, I feel like 100% would have been on this list. I think the Ultimate Spider-Man kind of hanging around to number 3 was actually a little bit of a surprise. And I also think maybe Uncanny X-Men is also, I think the X-Men's a little bit of a surprise as well for the top 24 books of last year.
It's a number 1. It's a new start of the show. And you said Uncanny, and yeah, I don't know.
Both X-Men, and Uncanny were both on that. So,
right, and Stegman on one of them. I mean, that's on the X-Men book. You had Stegman, so that's a big draw.
Yeah, so it's the charts compiled from actual sales data from 150 comic book shops provided by Comic Hub, which includes their point of sale services from comic book retailers, mostly in North America and the UK. These are typically from what they called mid-range stores. So not, Midtown Comics is not on this list, and they actually go and they give you in the article, they actually give you all the different comic shops that are on this list. A few of them I do know, 1 or 2 in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So, and they are mid-level shops. So, so what do we think? I mean, we kind of talked about it, Zach, last week, kind of like our favorite reads. Greg, you do your weekly videos on IG, and I would say you talk about these books on a monthly to bi-weekly basis, right? Did you assume
I'm reading most of those titles. I mean, like, I'm not reading any like the X-Men stuff. I mean, again, a lot of it is just hype because remember earlier, I know Zach wasn't here. I said, like, I'm not going to be biased when we were talking about the DC stuff. Like, I'm pulling all of these. I'm reading all these. I don't think this book is as good as the sales of it are. Like, it's fine, Absolute Batman, but the way that people were kind of boosting it, it's like, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man would be, I guess, the equivalent. It's far superior than Absolute Batman. So I mean, it's not shocking, but I think it was more just like the just a shock value and something new and exciting. It's cool that it did manage to get that, because people were kind of with the symbol and like, what is it going to be like? And I think there's so much great potential, but the story hasn't done it for me. Issue 3 has probably been the best one of them so far, but yeah, I mean, it's not too surprising. Wonder Woman to me has been the best out of the Absolute titles so far.
Really? Okay.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about. I know Absolute Superman #3 just came out. Absolute Wonder Woman just came out last week, so we'll kind of talk about them in reads. But I guess it's tough, and we were talking about this last week for when we were doing our categories, right? It's like Superman, Ultimate Spider-Man is at issue 12, 13, whatever it is, right? Batman's only at 3. So you'd have to see what was your feeling 3 issues into Spider-Man compared to 3 issues into Batman. Now take that same time frame and think, where are you going to be at 12 issues in of Ultimate Absolute Batman compared to Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Like that's kind of where you really need to look at it.
Yeah,
or Wonder Woman or Superman, right?
I would say one thing the Ultimate title has over the Absolute a little bit was they already kind of had a little bit of world building before their titles started. So like you had the Ultimate one shot. I can't even remember what it's called right now, but like you knew the story of the Maker
too, right?
Yeah, Ultimate Invasion stuff. Yeah. So you kind of had that. You kind of knew about the Maker, and then it was like, boom, here. And so, I mean, I guess you kind of have it with Absolute. We know that this is all coming off of the back end of Darkseid dying. We know this is an idea. It hasn't been spoken about in the books, but we know that the idea is like, this is a world without Darkseid, and the heroes struggle a little bit more here. But so I don't know. I mean, do you give a leg up or a leg down? Do you give a handicap to the Absolute because they didn't have that little bit of world building that the Ultimates kind of already had? I mean, that sort of needs to be taken into account, probably.
Good points.
Yeah.
Definitely good points all around.
I feel like Hickman's dialogue in Ultimate though is just fucking.
It's
awesome.
great. Yeah, it's great.
I don't know. It's just, again, and I'm like a DC guy. It's just the Absolute to me. Like even I haven't read the latest one, but Superman's been like kind of meh for me. And I love the main title, like we were talking about it before, me and Justin. I'm loving what Joshua Williamson doing on it, but the Absolute Superman, and I love Jason Aaron. It's just kind of
okay.
I think with the Ultimates, something that one more. The thing with Ultimate, at least Spider-Man. Maybe not so much like Black Panther and the Ultimates. It's a little different, I guess. But with Ultimate Spider-Man, it doesn't feel like the original Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Where in terms of it was like a new Peter Parker and he's a little bit different. Like this actually feels like Peter Parker grown up, like because he's aged more, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It honestly feels like the Peter Parker from the 616, like the main Marvel universe, a little further down the road. Like it doesn't. His personality hasn't changed. Even the lifestyle hasn't really changed that much. He's married with Mary Jane, couple kids, that makes sense. There's not a lot of change there. Aunt May's gone, but I don't know. It feels very much like it's not too far off.
Yeah. Even though like the way he got it's different to me. Like this is how Peter would end up. Like this is how I would.
Yeah, it was like it was always going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I love how we never talk about Ultimate X-Men.
I don't know.
So I can't really. I didn't hear good things, so I don't know. Is it good, Zach?
I read the first 2, and then I was done, dude. Yeah, so maybe I gotta wait till it gets like 10 deep or connects to the universe, and then maybe I'll give it another shot. But
nope,
I'm not a Peach fan, dude. I don't like her art.
Maybe the Maker will come in and just like destroy everybody
and remake it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue with the comic book talk. Let's talk about our reads. Zach, do you want to go last since you kind of just popped in?
Yeah, I mean, I only read like one book, dude. So
even last week's. We got last week's books and
this week. Only last week's stuff.
All right. So, Greg, why don't you start us off? Kick us. What did you like last week then?
What did I read last week? I have to go back. Okay, so Absolute Batman 3. Like I said, I thought it was the best one of them so far. Like the first one was kind of cool because you're kind of figuring out what's going on, but I would think it's the strongest so far. Ultimate Spider-Man 12. Read that. I think consistently solid book. Do you want me to just blast through it, or do you want to jump in and kind of give me
whatever? So whatever you got.
The Moon is Following Us, issue 4. I'm still liking it. Are you guys reading that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like that one was kind of action heavy. Sacrificers issue 13. You guys reading Sacrificers? Rick Remender?
I am. Yeah.
That's super dope. Like Pigeon right now is like on one. Like he's on one.
Pigeon's bad, dude.
He's jacked. He's on one. He's got the sauce. He's going. Absolute Wonder Woman 3. Solid. Superman 21. The date night one was good. And I got to wrap up Uncanny Valley finally. And last but not least, I loved Gargoyle of Gotham, even though that delay totally killed the book. But the art and the grittiness of it, I can't wait to just read it all like again in like a trade or something. But that's pretty much what I read. And then I read some old stuff because I wanted to.
What is Gargoyle? Because it's only going to be 4 issues, right? It's DC Black. Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this was the 3rd issue now, and I'm
doing 6 issues in 2027.
Exactly. The delay at which I don't understand. I asked you guys that I think once or twice in your questions. Actually, another book I forgot to mention that was suggested that I started reading, and it's new. It's a Vicarious. It's a Boom title.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty solid. I don't think I would be able to articulate the solicitation of it, but it's very unique, and I would recommend checking out issue 1 at least. There are 3 issues in so far. Vicarious. It's a Boom title.
Okay. So Gargoyle Gotham? Yeah, because that's like almost been like 1 issue a year almost. I think
it was
right?
2. It was all 3 in the calendar, but the first 2 came out normal time, and then from 2 to 3 was like a 6 to 8 month delay.
Yeah. What's it about? Just so if anybody has
it's just like another telling of like the Batman story, but he's just a lot. It's like a darker, the way that Raphael Grandpa kind of like captures Gotham and writes it. It's grounded. It's very relative to like kind of like society today. And I don't know. I just think the art and the dialogue is awesome. Like the Batman that's in that one is awesome. Like I don't think I can really break it down for you. To me, it's the best Batman title on the shelves, but the delay really, really hurt it. But it's by far the best Batman title, I'd say.
Yeah, that's the worst, especially with miniseries and stuff like that. That
kills momentum.
Big time.
Like what was the last really good one? I'm sure we read it. The Night, right? Batman the Night. That Chip did 2 years ago. I mean, luckily that kind of came out on time, and that was a great series.
The Knights of Steel was another one that like got delayed and killed the momentum on that alt universe one.
Yeah.
There's so many Batman titles though. Even like people slept on even that recent one, Dark Ages. Dark Ages was awesome every issue. Like that retro Batman one. It was super good.
Oh, it was like the steampunk or whatever. Was that one?
That's a part of the Gotham by Gaslight. Well, there's the Gotham by Gaslight Kryptonian Age. There's the Dark Ages, which is the continuation of the Dark Knights of Steel with Deathstroke. They have the Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween right now. There's the Batman and Robin Year One that I kind of, I talk about. But yeah, there's always different like little miniseries that people I feel like are not picking up, unless you're just picking up Batman, because you could pick up enough Batman books for the entire month.
So much Batman.
So, since you didn't get a chance to read this week's.
Zach, I literally just started Batman like this week's, and just busy. I just got a puppy, bro. Like it's crazy.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what kind of dog?
I got another English bulldog.
Sweet dude.
Okay.
I read 1 book from this week.
Right. I know you've been busy, so it's tough.
Yeah. One, I was kind of catching up on some of the other. Actually, I read 2 books. I read Deadpool Wolverine, and which I was surprised I wasn't going to read it, man, because it's not really my thing. But then I saw it was Benjamin Percy, so I gave it a shot, and I actually enjoyed it. But the other one I kind of like was a sleeper, and like this isn't my. I don't know if it's like the best book of this week, but was the Justice League: The Atom Project. So I heard
things about this. It got reviewed very well from what I've read online.
So I like DC's like side characters. I think DC has a great library of characters that never really get explored. That's why I think I always fall back to Blackest Night being like one of my favorite stories in the DC universe, because I feel like you got a lot of like second string, third string, even 4th string characters get some spotlight. So this also, it was cool because I like what they're doing. You kind of you're bleeding over, and like I think there's Justice League Unlimited #2. You see the Atoms, both Ryan Choi and Ray Palmer, kind of like work together, and then they kind of say, "Oh, read up more on this issue. Check them again here," right? Like the little asterisks. So So in this one, the Atom Project starts with Atom Smasher. You have the Atoms, and then it has Captain Atom. And it's really dealing with the whole idea, which we talked about a while ago, coming off of the back end of Absolute Power, of this whole, like, where did all these powers go to? Some people didn't get powers. Some people got powers switched. And the two Atoms are trying to figure that out. So they're trying to find the people who have powers switched. They got new people who have powers that they're trying to help and, take the powers away from them. They give them back to the correct people. So it's really interesting. And in this first issue, you kind of get it. They're trying to use Captain Atom, who had lost his powers. They're using him somewhat as like a guinea pig in a way. He's volunteered himself. But there's something going on there where at the end of the issue, and even at the beginning of the issue, so it's not really a spoiler, they're at odds. Captain Atom doesn't really agree with the way they're going about things. And so they're kind of like disagreeing with each other. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. And I'm looking forward to reading more of it. Okay. So, yeah.
Cool. For myself, last week's, a lot of the books that Greg kind of already talked about, Absolute Wonder Woman was a good read for issue number 3. We get the continuation of how she was helping Steve out of hell, which was pretty wild. A lot of people are kind of complaining about the next issue because supposedly it's going to be a silent issue, which, like, how can you do a silent issue with Wonder Woman? But I don't know. Greg talked about the Superman 21 last week. It's leading up to this new Doomsday War. You get the changeover from artist from Jamal Campbell to Dan Mora. I mean, Dan Mora just is an amazing artist. You got Joshua Williamson still writing it. So that was definitely solid from last week during the holiday week. This week's stuff, first hot garbage of 2025. And again, it's not always, but this was probably the worst issue that I've read so far. Ultimates number 8.
Okay.
It introduces the Guardians of the Galaxy from the 61st century, and I just don't care about them. So they know America Chavez because America's in this team, and so how like America can kind of just jump around from like place to place. So she's kind of lost her memories, or didn't realize that she lost her memories and where she's from and stuff like that. But the characters are just kind of like, I don't care, and it's kind of just like they're here for the issue and kind of gone. But
is
we're going
to Star-Lord, a different Star-Lord, and
there's like a Star-Lord. There's no Rocket. There's one of the characters is kind of Captain Marvel. You got like Cosmos. He's right on the cover, and then there's like this other character who's kind of who you think would be Star-Lord, but it's not. I forget his name, but they're all from the 61st century, so they have all these like crazy powers and weapons that obviously the current superheroes really can't beat. So I don't know. It was just like a weird issue to put them, especially if you're going to do this Ultimate Universe and you're going to create the Guardians of the Galaxy in this new Ultimate Universe. They should have just been the 2024 version of them, right? Like there's ways of doing it and creating them, whether it's a mixture of like the original Guardians of the Galaxies to like the newer James Abbott, Dan Abbott, like that kind of run, like the Conquest stuff, right? There's a way that you could have had a mixture with both, but yeah, it is what it is. Batman 156 was a solid issue from Chip. Funny that we finally, and we talked about this, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, when I was like, when comic book covers are when they don't show what they should be showing on the inside, and this one finally did, because I've in the past, last issue had the Riddler and the Court of Owls, and this issue finally showed, and Riddler's in there and Batman's fighting the Court of Owls, and this cover should be the reverse. Realistically, it should have been switched. So but Riddler's always a great character. I love the riddles that he does, because I'm always trying to think, before I read it, I'm like, what could this be?
I just started reading that before we jumped on, but I'm only a couple pages in.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and like you said, I don't know where it's going to end for Chip, if this is his last, or because I think this is like part 9, but it does end pretty interesting of who.
I think this was supposed to be his last one. I think 156 or 157. I feel like he's done now, or maybe one more, but I think it's
he's got it. Well, the lead up, let's just say the cliffhanger for this issue, definitely he's going to be able to finish it, and it's a very interesting character. I'll just kind of leave it at that. Batgirl number 3, man. I love this series. I just love Cassandra. I love Lady Shiva. It's a very good relationship building between mother and daughter. It's the same thing like the Batman and Robin stuff with Damian and Bruce. Like there's just so much. It comes from a different, it just comes from a different side because of who, if anybody's ever read Cassandra for as long as you have and knew the Batgirl that she was before Rebirth, completely different character to now. She's not very trustworthy. Even the way she does all her detective stuff is very interesting. It's not vocal because she didn't speak for a very long time. So I love the Batgirl series right now. I feel like you should be picking it up and giving it a try. But man, pick of the week.
Sorry, before you go on, let me ask.
No, go ahead.
So I appreciate that. So I have heard good things about this, and my daughter right now is like on a trade paperback binge. Would she like this? Like, does she have to know a lot of the history, or could she jump into this Batgirl? Because it's only like 3 issues in, right?
Yeah, it's only 3 issues in. What I would recommend is get the trade paperback for Batgirls, because that was like 15 or 16 issues. It had Stephanie, Cassandra, and Barbara. But for the most part, it's Cassandra and Stephanie were the Batgirls, and they were like together.
It's appropriate for the age, like 8 years old.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No weird, like mom is mom, dad is dad. Like we're not.
No, it's nothing like that. It's just you basically have both Batgirls. You have Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown being the Batgirls, and they're living in whatever like Gotham, and you have Barbara Gordon. She's playing like the Oracle role for the most part, and it's like 2 teenage girls, being the superheroes, and they're kind of their mom is Barbara. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely I would recommend the Batgirl series for sure. It was definitely it was a good read.
Yeah.
And then like once this ends or however long it goes, then you can check this out. So
okay, appreciate that.
Definitely. And man, so it's definitely a toss up. I know you read it, Greg, the Penguin series, and I talked about this for issue 1. If you guys are not reading the this Two-Face series,
I read the first one.
Very good.
Okay, see, I heard mixed.
I thought the first one was a little slow.
Okay, I'm gonna jump into it now.
I like it, man. Like the whole like him trying to be a good guy, and in this issue, there's this thing, man, where he just creates, the writer created this whole idea of there's like a mind inside of Harvey, right? And like the Two-Face version, the Harvey used to live in this world. Like he created this prison in his mind, and that's where he lived when Two-Face was around. But now that it's kind of switched, Two-Face lives in this prison, and you get to see like this inner workings of what's going on in the world of Two-Face. But you also have what's going on in the storyline of Two-Face, Harvey Dent, trying to figure out, going through these courts. So it's a good like Law and Order type of show.
Because who's the writer on it?
So who's writing it? Let me.
Because I love the Penguin one. I actually just bought. it.
Christian Ward is the writer. Okay. But yeah, man, I'm really liking this, and if it's as good as like the Penguin was. Like the whole idea in this issue is the Royal Flush Gang, like the king and queen, like one's the defendant, one's the prosecutor, or defendant, and they're like something happened between them, like between the king and the queen of the Royal Flush Gang, and Harvey's all about like trying to find the facts. So in the first issue, he found that girl and kind of has this girl kind of finding things for him and trying to find out in the background. And now it's all about this thing called the Shadow Hand. So there's these group of villains who you'll learn about in this issue that kind of that they're getting together to try to stop what the quote unquote white church is doing. And the white church is kind of like the villains' court, because villains can't go to court. So instead of killing each other, they have their ways of doing things in villain world, I guess. So
villain world.
That's basically what it is. But yeah, man, I'm liking the Two-Face stuff. It's definitely a cool read. And when you finally see like what's going on in Harvey's mind, where Two-Face is there and like the stuff that he's dealing with, it's pretty wild.
Okay, yeah, I'm sold. I'm gonna take it in because Tom King knocked it out of the park with that Penguin book, man. So
yeah, like Penguin was weird. Like the first few issues was kind of slow because of like what happened, with that, like because you're like, oh well, the death of Penguin from like the Batman Nightwing series and stuff like that. But then once it started really repping into like the origins and kind of going back and retconning a lot of stuff, it was a solid read to the end for
Super
sure.
dope. Yeah, fuck yeah. Okay, you sold me. I'm in. I'm gonna read those two.
Dude, I think I cannot believe that. I feel like all the Batman stuff, all the Batman villains, rogues have perfect opportunities to do like a maxi series without a doubt. But pick of the week, and I'm telling you, after this one, I really think this is now my favorite. It's inching over Batman. Absolute Superman this week was so good.
Okay,
Like,
good. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, man. Like there is a lot. Again, it's so much on Krypton. You get you get Clark Kal-El as like a kid, like him in school, just what's going on with his parents. There's a lot of action. You're going to see some badass suits.
Cool.
And it's just such a different thing because, from what everybody knows is all we know is like Clark was on Krypton as a baby and he got sent he got sent off and everybody died. But this, you get a little bit more of a background of what's happening in the world. You get Clark in school, you get his parents and having to deal with like certain things. And there's some things that are happening to Krypton. Obviously, we know what's going to happen to Krypton, but there's some things that I'm curious to see what happens with his parents. And I'll kind of leave it at that. So pick of the week, Absolute Superman number 3. For all 3 issues, definitely this issue just put Superman just above the Batman series for me.
Okay, because I haven't loved the Superman one so far, so I'm excited to read this. I haven't read it yet.
No, it's some good stuff, man.
Okay, good.
It's giving you some good origins. I know a lot of people are like, well, it's not like the Batman stuff because Batman was just kind of right in, right? But I think once they world build this enough with the Krypton and he leaves the Krypton, which will probably be in the next issue, then you can get right into like a Superman story. Because I mean, we know where it's going, right? Like Lois Lane is against him and he's kind of helping everybody, but you still want to learn about certain things and you still want to see.
You need to know his backstory.
Yeah. And it's completely different because there's no Martha and Jonathan Kent, right? Like there's nothing yet. So we'll see what happens, but definitely again, pick of the week, Absolute Superman for me. Please definitely give it a read if you're not reading it. So that's it for the episode.
DC kind of ended strong, like the year with like the reads. Like they had a really good year, like in their writing and all that. I found.
Yeah, they're coming back, man. They got opportunities to really do well here with this. Even the Justice League situation they got going on now is really cool with like one huge Justice League. I think it's a great idea, and then the Absolute Universe. So if they can continue to bring these two kind of story arcs together like they're supposed to, could be really awesome.
Yeah, and they just announced about the Absolute Flash this week as well.
I think a lot of I think even like Martian Manhunt. I think they're doing a ton of Absolute titles with characters.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Right when they see the success, they're like, "Oh, Absolute Captain Cold."
Oh my god! Yeah, we'll get a villain. We'll get a villain at some point. We'll definitely have like an absolute villain at some point. So, before we get out of here, Greg, let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, just on IG. Like during the holidays, like I said, I was dealing with some things, and I haven't been to my LCS because I've been off for like a few weeks. So I'll get back there next week, and I got a little unboxing I'm going to be doing. Was sent some stuff from Love for Comics, and just been reading a lot more, to be honest. Even like old stuff. Like I genuinely, when I ask people for recommendations, I'm not one of those people that doesn't go and read it. Like even during Christmas, I didn't want to like talk to anybody, and I blasted through like entire runs of like books and shit. So I mean, man, just reading. It's it.
Nice,
sweet dude.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. Again, make sure you guys follow Paperweight Collectibles on Instagram for his weekly videos of his reviews of books, just like us. So, Zach, anything?
Nope, all good here. Just 2025, man, starting out with a bang.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's turned from a family of 3 to a family of 5. So
real quick. Are we allowed to know names, or is that not done?
I'll tell you after.
I forgot. We're still rolling. I don't know why I thought he had ended it. I totally, my bad. Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll tell you offline.
Yeah.
So that's it, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the first episode of season 5 of 2025. We'll catch you all soon. Later, everybody.
Later.
Hey, comic book collectors. Do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicCom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.